I'm Big is an online talk show sharing what's working in a big way. It is about redefining what it means to be big. Welcome everybody to yet another big episode of I Am Big, where you and I redefine big. Today, we have somebody very special on the show, Steve. I'm pretty sure if you love animals, you've heard him. He is probably one of the most heard journalists, animal journalists in the country. And also he is a certified animal behavior specialist and hosts 2 nationally syndicated shows. Tell us about your shows, Steve.
I host, to answer your question, I host 2 national radio shows and one on WGN right here in Chicago, where we are speaking from now. Heard 6:30 Sunday mornings, called Steve Dale's Pet World. My job for coming up on 15 years now on WGN Radio has been to, and radio, that's a while, has been to help people with their animals. And I will tell you, the email that I get, not only from the radio shows that I do on WGN, the national radio shows, and the newspaper column that I've been writing for, I think it's going on 20 years now, for the Tribune, the nationally syndicated column. I hear from people all the time saying, the advice you've given me has saved my pets' lives.
That's awesome.
You know, but people ask me all the time, you know, isn't it exciting to help pets? Mm-hmm. Yes, but what I'm really doing, I think, is helping families, because pets are, after all, members of the family. At least for 90% of pet owners, plus, that's what they say.
First of all, I think for viewers watching, I mean, your career is a dream career for a lot of people. People would do anything to have this kind of legendary track in broadcasting. How did you get into it?
Well, I mean, I've been doing radio ever since I was really in high school, pretty much. And out of high school, worked at suburban radio stations, worked at radio stations all around Chicago. And I've been very lucky to keep working in Chicago in a market this size. And when I began to write about pets full time. Actually, I was covering entertainment and sometimes writing about animals for the Chicago Tribune and others. And when the Tribune company came to me and said, we're beginning this new pull-out section called the Friday section, we'd like you to do an entertainment column and some other things, some general feature stories. And I said, can I write about pets too? And the editor there, great guy at that time, Randy Kerwin, said, pets? I said, yeah. And he said, well, sure. You know, so that's
Your
really...
eyes twinkle when you say pets. I can see it.
That's really how it began. Yeah. And began to get educated. So to this day, I go to veterinary. Now, these days, I speak at veterinary conferences, I'm honored to say. But I would go to veterinary conferences and I would learn. And I still am learning, or trying to.
Why? I know... I can see that obviously you love pets that much. One can see that you have this love for animals. Where did this start? Why animals for you personally?
Well, growing up as a kid, there was no Animal Planet or Discovery Channel. And my dad had an interest in animals, so much so that at one point in his life, he wanted to be a zookeeper. We went to Africa together, which was wonderful, to see wildlife. The experience for me was... And we've been to Africa, I've been to Africa since. I was there about a year ago, actually, to see the mountain gorillas, which was amazing. Wow. But we would watch Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. And there would be Marlin Perkins, who I did get to meet a couple times in person toward the end of his life. But there was Marlin Perkins doing what he did, which was to do what? He would say, and I am here, and Jim is wrestling the alligator while I sit in the comfort of this air-conditioned studio. It was a very different kind of animal show than the kind we see on TV today, but that's what we had. I grew up watching these things, and I just always had an interest in not only pets, but also wildlife, actually.
No human being deserves to be told that they are small, because that ain't the truth. After being told that I was too fat to do anything, and I will not make it, I made it, and I made it big, both professionally and personally. Now it's time to do something bigger, and I'm going to do it with you. I know I am big, and so are you. I Am Big is an online talk show sharing what's working in a big way. It is about redefining what it means to be big, to dream big, to act big, to grow big, and to share big. Because big goes way beyond size. Big is who we are and how we live. We are traveling around Chicagoland and beyond to bring you stories of everyday people doing big things. Join our movement today on iambig.com and share with us on Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter. Sending you a hug from Chicago. Welcome, everybody, and we are here with the lovely Steve Dill, and he's going to be talking about this great, new, amazing book coming out. Your book, which I have not read yet, but I have done a little research on it, which really touched me with the fact that it helps people understand animal behavior, and because looks like it is the lack of that understanding which leads into some of our best favorite pets to suddenly land up in rescues and in shelters because suddenly we don't know what to do with them. Till yesterday, they were a big part of your family, and today we just can't deal with them because of maybe they're barking too much or they're doing something. So tell us about the book.
Well, you're absolutely right in that description. So it's not my book, actually. It's the
You're contributing to the book.
Yeah, right? It's the American College of Veterinary Behaviorists, and these are the ultimate experts in animal behavior. They're veterinarians who studied, first of all, to be a veterinarian, and then they get boarded in behavior. So now, the number one reason is you kind of hint at why our animals die, our beloved cats and dogs, isn't heart disease necessarily or cancer. It may well be bad behavior. The fact then that they land in a shelter, and then who knows what happens to them when that bond breaks. So let's prevent it from breaking by providing some answers. These are the right answers based on science. And many of the members of the American College of Veterinary Behaviorists contributed to this book. My job was kind of minimal. All I did was like spruce it up a little bit. It's really their book. But I'm out there supporting it because this is going to save lives. I'm confident of that. So whether you're just getting a new puppy and you want to know the basics, or whether you have an animal now that has a problem or might have a problem in the future, because you never know, whether it be thunderstorm anxiety or separation distress. So let's say that you're walking down the street with the dog, and your dog is lunging, and I do mean lunging, at other dogs. I mean, seriously, is growling at other dogs. And you get advice. You get advice maybe from a dog trainer who's well-meaning and pretty much knows his or her stuff. You get advice from every dog owner you see. But here's what you don't get. You don't get a veterinarian speaking about it with you, and here's why that matters. Let's say the problem is medically based. You can get all the advice in the world, and unless you solve that medical problem. So a dog, let's say a dog at the age of 7 or 8 begins to piddle in the house. And again, same thing. You get advice from a whole assortment of well-meaning, qualified, unqualified, everything in between folks, right? What if that dog is diabetic? So all the behavior advice in the world doesn't really matter, does it? Until you've solved the medical problem. So what this book talks about is also the potential medical issues involved that really need to be assessed first. And if it's a behavior problem, diagnosis oftentimes is the proper word, and then you kind of go from there. So what is the dog doing? And then your veterinarian can determine maybe why your dog is doing it. And ultimately, if it is a serious behavior issue, let's say separation anxiety. So every time you leave the house, your dog is absolutely terrified, more than a bit anxious. Well, then at that point, you may be referred to a veterinary behaviorist or someone who can help you and take more time than your veterinarian can. But the right diagnosis to understand exactly what behavior problem you're really dealing with is crucially important.
So is this like, are they basically like dog psychologists who...
You can say that, yeah.
Okay, I mean, so who understand more than just medical symptoms, what is going on emotionally, and I'm just kind of...
No, you're totally, you're right,
Because
you're
more
right.
like mental health
yes.
for our dogs.
Yes, but that mental health issue for dogs and cats, and parrots for that matter, that's important because it may well be the number one reason why they die.
When you sleep at night, don't you feel awesome that you are somewhere, somehow, helping the lives of animals and families?
Well, thank you. When I sleep at night, I mostly feel crowded. because we have my wife, 2 dogs, and a cat in bed with us.
Oh my God.
The lizard, however, does sleep in another room, I can assure you.
Well, on that note, everyone, do pick up a copy of Decoding Your Dog. When is it coming out?
The book is officially out January 7th, early January. However, it is available right now as we speak at Amazon.com. I have a question for you.
Yes, I'm ready.
Am I big? After being on your show, I need to know, have I made it?
Well, I am going to prove it to you. Bring your wrist. Don't be nervous.
What is that? Oh, it's a big band.
I am big band right for you.
I love it.
Because we feel that what you're doing is super big.
Thank you.
We think you are big. We think animals are big. And I think your book is going to be big and your heart's big. Thank you for coming on our show. Join the conversation. Join our mission on Facebook. On our website, we'll post more information on Steve's shows. And keep watching because we love you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Big.
Thank you.